All right, on my toy belt weed eater video where I replaced the string, somebody had to comment that their bump release right here is stuck up in there. Now, mine's working perfectly fine, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tear it down, to give him a view of what's inside here. I'm going to tear this down. I may tear this down. Now, this will not help with this because that's still a nut under there. It still has to come off to get to the broken part in there, which is a spring. So if you're having head problems, this might be the video to you because it's a tear down. First thing I'm going to do is take this off. Now, see, this has its own spring right there. So that should have been pushing it back, okay? And there's the nut up in there that goes onto this. Well, see, this center right here, this part right here, pushes down on that little white spot in there. Let me turn it a little bit where you can see it a little bit better. There you go. Pushes down on this, okay? All right. I'm going to take all this out, which I know my string has got to be getting pretty low. Get out of there. Okay, so what do we got in here? We've got the release mechanism. And that's probably what's damaged on it too. Probably got that damaged. This has a little pin right here that you can take off, with a couple of screwdrivers. Let me go get a couple of screwdrivers. See, I'm after this little bitty pin right here, a little clamp. Now, when this thing comes off there, it's going to try to disappear into oblivion probably, but luckily it's in a case here that can catch it. Okay, there it is. It's already coming off. Come here. There it is, folks. I always keep something to hold my parts in. I'll use that. Okay, then that comes off. There's a spring. Okay. There it is. Now there's a spring down there and it's going to try to pop out. And that's the fun part, will be getting that back in there. The spring right there. That spring right there, by the way, can go bad and makes this thing not want to work right. All right, now you're seeing the bottom of it. So the question is, what could he do to get this back out of here, okay? Well, first of all, it's down there. He can wedge screwdrivers on both sides. Now remember, it's down there, so he has to be wedging. You have to be careful not to break these. And let me zoom that out so I don't need to be that far in right now. He can wedge on both sides and pull it that way. Even if you had to heat it up and kind of melt into it a little bit where it has a better grip, he could do that. There again, you don't want to melt that too much. And you're just trying to make a place for it to grip, and then you pull it. Now, remember, when you're pulling up, you don't want to put so much that you actually bust your casing because you've wedged too much in your own little hole that you made. But you can also you could drill through here on both sides, okay? Get you a couple of screws along this line, drill you a hole that's, big enough for it to go through, but still be able to catch the threads, obviously. And put that in there, through the little hole, put it on both sides, and that'll give you something to pull with. You could actually put a board on it or whatever and use that as leverage, stick it in a vise and pull, They're trying to get that out because that should come out. That's the thing. This right here, even if it's got broke parts in there, this should come out. But, you know, I don't know what he's dealing with. He may have got something wedged down in here. So, I'm going to tear this apart. I'm going to take this one off. It's got a nut on the other side. You got to make sure that you don't lose your nut. Okay. Take this one off. Now, do I have to take this off? Nah, not really. Take this middle one off. All right, so now we've got that. Now let's flip it over. I am gonna readjust the camera here and stuff because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing better. All right, so here we go. We've got this headpiece here. Take it apart. There's a washer. So we got the nut in there. So here we go. Now it's going to try to fall. And there you go. So there's the end of the shaft. It turns out up in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. That's all it is, a little shaft. So we know that's ready. Now to take this apart. Point of no return, folks. And that could have came all the way out, but it's not hurting anything in there. All right, here we go. Get that off of there. Get off of there. Here we go, folks. There you are. Now, let's get this out of there since we're in here. It's right here. And they're trying to cause problems. Gets up behind the head, see? Now, while we're in here, we're going to look at the bearings and stuff. See if I can see the bearings right here. This one right here has got a cover on it. This one right here does not. But it probably did once upon a time and it came off. That'll eventually wear out and cause issues. This is the gears I was talking about. You'd have to make sure you didn't hear grinding in another video. And you'll notice we got the double bearing here again and we got the other side. So we need to put some grease in here while we're in here. All right. Ta-da, grease. Let's All right. Now, here's the thing. This is all I got to do. Blah. There's your grease. I don't have to go sticking my fingers all in it and everything else. Got me some grease. But what if we want grease up in here? Same thing. You just start sticking it in there. Because you put it in one of those spots, it'll run around to the other spots. Okay? So I'm going to do that. Here's my other half. So I've got some grease in here. That'll help these bearings do their thing. Now, other side, same thing. We're going to just stick grease down in it. Now you can use a lot of stuff. You don't have to use a flathead screwdriver. Now remember, as these turn, they're going to pull the grease up in there. Okay? And there we go, folks. That's all you have to do. Now, make sure there's not dust and stuff in there. Take this end, put it back in there. See, it'll turn. See, the grease is going already around the gear. See that? You are good to go, buddy. And if you do this ever so often, them gears will last. They dry out, the grease can't get in there properly, and you'll be good to go. Them nuts have to fit up in there. So make sure they're in there right. So you want to push that up, then come from this side. You want to make sure there's no grinding noise. So there's your screws. This is all tight where it's supposed to be. That's in there where it's supposed to be. You're good. Everything works. You're good to go. Restring it. Make sure it's turning on this end when you turn it in. See, watch. I'm turning it. There you go.